Yo, this is in
Facts.
Chats, and we are in our home, which is the Qube. It's London home for creators. It's for podcasters, artists, musicians, producers, all of that. It's all about recording your art and getting paid for it.
Ooh. And if you want a free month at the Qube, all you have to do is visit theqube.com, qube.com. You'll see that down below, and enter in facts into the referral field, and you'll get your first month for free.
Yeah. Sweet. Enjoy that. Bon appetit.
Top of the morning.
Top of the morning, top of the morning.
Top of the morning.
Let's get this shit. Let's get this shit. Okay, this is tough. Alrighty. Wait. Top of the morning. No.
Top of the morning. Let's
get this shit. Let's get this shit. Top of the morning to ya.
Hey.
You're listening to In
Facts. Yeah, you caught me slipping. I just want a little sip of water. What? I can't even get that.
I'll say it again. You're listening to In
Facts.
Chats.
And my name is Lemzi. That's Lemzi, the Gemini.
And my name is Amelia Poamz. That's Poamz, the Pisces. And yeah, I'm feeling like shit.
Whoa. Man, before you even
I'm
say that,
joking.
this is a podcast where creative millennials let off steam. We talk about our creativity and all other relevant topics.
Obviously, we won't be able to do this on our own, so hold tight. The Qube for sponsoring us, London's home for creators.
That's
And this is
right.
the unpacked version, so actually there's no visuals.
No
It's just
Yeah,
audio.
it's just us.
Just me and you.
It's a nice space.
It is.
It's good. It's
It
cozy.
is.
We got the Qube. All right. So, well, here we go. How are you feeling?
Really? Okay,
the
so
vibes?
there's so much going on with me, man. I'm joking. Well, firstly, I'm actually a little bit under the weather, and it's not COVID, because before COVID, there was like general
Yeah, you're just
cold.
ill, innit? Yeah. And it's okay.
Feeling a bit under the weather. I feel like I've had a bit of a merry week. I don't really
Do
think I've slept properly at all this week.
you think that's the main contributing factor?
Probably, and I haven't really gone to the gym this week either, so I just generally haven't really felt as productive as I could be. And I also just feel like this going out life for me, I just don't know if I'm about it anymore.
Yay. Retirement soon
Yeah,
pending.
I
Like.
just don't know if I'm about it anymore. So yeah, but it's a new week tomorrow. I'll feel good. Like it will pass. You know, everything. Nothing is permanent in life. Everything is temporary.
That's right.
And there is the good side of that, the bad side of that, and the good side of this is that this mood is not permanent. It's only temporary.
Okay, I'm going to ask you then. Can you
What?
give me 2 things that you're grateful for?
Oh my
There
god!
we go. Come on, gratuity. Let's do it, man.
I am very grateful for the ability to grow from every situation. I feel like
That's a
I'm
nice one.
I'm very, very grateful
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you just know sometimes if things aren't going your way or you're in a rut, you know that there's always that potential to grow and change from it.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I'll say that's one thing I'm very grateful for. I would also say I'm very grateful for my family. I think I'd say I've been
Jeez.
spending a lot of time at home,
That's nice.
and yeah, it's nice. Not everyone has that, and
For real.
exactly.
For real.
And like I've got a safe, secure roof over my head, and I
Mhm.
can never take that for granted. There's food on the table. There's hot water that comes out of our tap. Like,
Boom.
so I'm grateful for the small things. I see what
Excellent.
you're doing
There
here.
we go.
No, shut up.
Wow. This day has just gotten a lot of variables.
Oh,
Look
shut
at that.
up. I get it, Mr. Positive. P. You're pushing P, are you?
Do you
Pushing
know what?
positive.
That phrase, is that what that means?
I don't know.
'Cause I'm lost.
I
There's
don't
certain
know.
things that do make me feel aged, and that's one of them. As soon as I see this P, and even people using the little P emoji, I'm
Yeah, I
thinking,
know.
whoosh, over my head.
You're pushing P, bro.
Pushing P, yeah.
But how
pushing
are
P.
you? Really?
I am in a really good space.
I love that for you.
I feel just so at peace. I can't lie.
Pushing P.
I'm pushing P.
You're pushing P's.
My P's peace. So I'm pushing P all day long.
Yeah.
Nah, I feel good. Like
what does peace feel like to you?
I feel very undisturbed, and I feel very centered and quite I don't know if relaxed is the word, but I do feel quite relaxed, generally speaking. And I think even say gym, I managed to just squeeze it in this morning before we even linked
okay.
up. But that's the only time this week I've been as well. I was like, do you know what? It's just that week. It's just that kind of week where it's like it might not happen, but
I feel you.
guarantee in a couple of weeks' time we'll probably both be like, it's the 4th time this week. Like we're in it, we're active again. Like it will happen. So
Yeah.
right now, I think I'm good because there's just a bunch of stuff happening, and even when it's not happening, I'm like, oh, thank God, I can just chill.
I feel
So yeah,
you.
I'm at peace, man.
Okay, and 2 things that you're grateful for right now.
Ooh, us driving here. 'Cause even when we got out of the car and it started hitting me, I was like, thank God we ain't got to get on the tube. Just today, that was
Good thing I came to pick you up, innit?
Yeah, how's that pink license of yours? It's still good, yeah.
But yeah, okay, yeah.
That's defo one. And number 2, I think I'm just very grateful for like appreciating that I'm in this moment of peace right now, innit? And I can actually be like comfortable in it. Because sometimes I'm a bit, everything's a bit too cool and comfortable. Something bad's gonna happen, and yeah, I'm anticipating the worst for no reason, innit? But I'm good. I'm very good.
I live in that. But like I said, not everything
Not
is
everything's-
permanent. It's only temporary.
There you go, and it's like, when is this gonna mess up?
I'm joking, nah, man. Nah. Life is, I feel, it's about being content anyway. It's not about like always having high moments or always about having low moments. It's
You're tired.
about
Could you imagine?
Exactly, like always being super happy. Because there's like
why
the
people
negative
take
side.
drugs.
Because they call it like toxic positivity, innit?
Super facts.
Yeah.
Super facts. And that's why even it's just about being real, innit? Just keep it real. You're not feeling great today.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
fine,
innit?
innit? Trust me, like there'll be a day I walk in here and I'll be like, Po, I don't even want to do this shit right now.
And I will wait. I'll be like, I
Tired.
knew we'd get you one day,
I'm
bro.
tired.
Because I'm the turbulent one, man. When I look over some of the episodes, I'm like, okay, wow, people really see like
They're
the
seeing
shades
you.
of me, boy. But I just keep it real, man.
No, I think it's important because I even thought about this in the shower this morning where I was like, do you know what? The one thing I hope that like I can represent, people around me like yourself will represent is just authenticity and integrity more than anything. Because I can't remember if it was like Unpacked or in even the first episode where we were talking and I was saying how some people had previously like put me on a bit of a pedestal in their perspective, and I was like, I don't like that. Because that clearly means that I'm not showing you everything, where there's flaws and all.
Yeah,
Flaws and
but some
all of that
people,
stuff, innit?
but that's also reasons why some people will put you on a pedestal because you can be real. Do you know what I mean?
True.
So, it's fine, man. Take us as we are.
Good,
we
man.
ain't trying to be
We're
like
peace
that.
right now.
But there's just a few things I want to get off my chest, yeah?
Yeah, let's get into it, innit? 'Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, you were saying
Obviously, the episode just before this anyway, we cut it up with EK, Hotel
got EK.
Eklipse. This year is going to be a good year for him, dropping a lot of
100%. Seen it active.
projects. Yeah. But we did kind of touch on this idea that like when you're a grime artist and you go to the set, you know, you have to kind of affirm, you know, I'm the best in the game.
Yeah.
Which I guess
bravado.
which loosely does kind of bring me to this conversation around egos in the industry and whether they are helpful, whether we need them. Like for instance, to give it context, like recently I went to an industry event. The way I'm going in my career, I will be in more of these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like the first kind of place that I've been to when like, oh right, you look around and there's bare people. But obviously that like this was an event like for the music industry.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, there was people that you knew. But when I was in that event, I just kind of like obviously I was gassed to be there. But at the same time, I just kind of felt this sense of fakeness as well. Yeah,
like just
a
all
little bit.
around.
Not from everyone.
Yeah.
But there was just almost this like just fakeness that I just don't know. You know, the first thing I thought to myself was I was like, I get it why some artists or like some celebrities are almost seen as anti because they ain't going to the after parties or whatever. They're just cutting because they want to do shit with the people
The
that
actual
they
friends and shit,
people that are real. And like obviously I'm not saying everyone in the industry is fake or whatever, but there was this level of kind of I'm only going to talk to the people that I know in here, or if you could do something for me. Other than that, like there's no need to kind of talk to anyone else, which I found a bit of a shame because like when you look at your journey, whether you are an artist or I mean also we're in a day and age now of influencers where it almost does bring like
blurred lines as well.
just blurred lines of like what do you do?
What are you bringing? Yeah. Like what's your offering right now? Is it just followers kind of thing? And it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Like what's the conversation about? What's the networking angle as well?
This is
do
it.
We want to have a good, I remember you said the word transactional.
Yeah.
We want to have a transactional, what's the word?
Like
dynamic.
Yeah,
I guess, in it,
exactly.
or, interaction. That's it.
Yeah, because I get it with artists. even though it kind of lets me down a little bit when you've seen their journey and they come up and then suddenly they have this, I don't even know them, but it comes across that they have this ego about them that no one can chat to me anymore. And it's kind of like, but you were doing sets, open mic sets, like you were doing your rounds just like everyone else, and now you're at this point. But then again, with influencers, which I don't want to discredit the work that they do, because I don't think I have the time to be sitting up chopping up content all the time to be it's hard work.
Hard that is. TikToks are not easy, bro.
It's hard.
They look like
work.
the most simple thing in the world, but people who bang out multiple a day, credit to you, because boy, I know.
Honestly, it's exactly. So I don't discredit what they do. However, how do you what is this ego with some influencers where it's almost like you can't chat to me now? But then it's like, okay, if we really break down, is it talent that you have, or is it just you're popular? Like, what is it?
Yeah, and then it comes down to, okay, what is the value that you're not providing, but what's the value you believe that you're holding? Because if it is something where in your mind people can't chat to me because I have X amount of followers, for instance, then really all you're saying to yourself is that as long as there's bots that are building up this number, or people that show there's 100k plus or whatever, you're content with that. And then anybody else who's not matched up to that level, you also find a discontent for that almost. And it's like, plus if you're at a music industry event, are you even in the right field where this should be the vibe? Is this what we should be?
And this is it though, because I saw a tweet that said I'm seeing more influencers being invited to these music industry events, and it's like instead of artists. And it's kind of like, does that make sense? Which at the same time I get it, everyone consumes music, so I guess if you are consuming it and you are essentially a customer as well, then you should be involved in that. And if you've got I don't know, the following, the clout or whatever, but still, when I was at this event, I kind of thought, now imagine if everyone in this room was like artists and it was about the music, and how much more networking there could essentially be. Or is it like we've almost have to decorate with the influencers? And I don't even want to sound shady at all.
Because it's not just influence. It's just people that you wouldn't necessarily attribute to being in a
just because they got a name
industry event. And that was something I was speaking to a few people about, this kind of thing the other day, because the Brits wasn't too long ago, and people were, did you watch it? And I didn't. I just didn't. I did see some of the highlights and everything, and I think it's amazing that what Dave did, that performance, sick. Little Sims and her speech, and the fact that she won something sick. Great. There was a lot of good key moments that I saw, but ultimately what I envisage when I see a lot of these things is the social / business engineering of the music industry. We all love Adele. Adele is Adele. We love her. We love her music. We love what she does, etc. We're at a point where if she's in your category, you can't win. You just can't win, no matter what. Because really and truly, the album was good, but really there was better albums this year by British artists.
Who?
Lil Sims. I can say that straight away off the top of that. That was a better album. But something like the Brits kind of just feels like the British music industry showcase to the world of this is what we have on offer. Come and watch us. These are the people we're pipping as our rising stars. These are our real superstar breadwinners, the Adele, Ed Sheerans, Dua Lipas, etc. Because even pop / R&B.
Listen, we need to just talk about that properly.
Whoa, that really...
No, because that's laziness for me. And that makes me feel like, is it really music lovers that are creating this platform? Because pop / R&B, I even said to you, that's like going a rock / reggae fucking
it's so
category.
lazy.
It's so lazy. And then even when you look at the nominees, it's like, what?
Yeah, because they're two very... there's obviously slight crossovers. You can be a poppy R&B singer or whatever the other blend might be, but when R&B lends itself into stuff like the blues, or rhythm and blues,
exactly,
and it brings in stuff of elements of hip hop and stuff, it's like we're straying away from whatever that pop angle is. And someone like Dua Lipa has said bare times she wants to be a pop star. Yeah. So cool, put her in this pop category. Whoever else is in there, just pop and let them have their thing and run with it. R&B is a whole, and the UK R&B scene does seem to get just minimalized.
It's
ridiculous. All the time.
It's ridiculous.
And we have such sick artists.
When I think about Jack James, I actually really don't understand why Jack James is not way bigger than he actually is. Man. And he's doing numbers. And I always find it such a shame as well that a lot of UK R&B artists have to go to America to get recognition over here. Like, can we
Georgia Smith, LMA, they all had to do that as well.
Do you know what I mean? Can we wake up? Like, can we wake up? Because I think I've said this multiple times. I feel like over here, even though we are, I think the majority of music listeners over here, it feels like we can only consume one type of music at a time. Yeah. Like, it's grime time, it's drill time,
it's funky house time.
Do you know what I mean? It's like it's
right
never.
Now it's piano time. Anything else, like Afro, that's old. Like, it's like what?
It's like we can actually celebrate all the different art forms at the same time, 100%. But especially the R&B scene over here, it's just like, yo, we've got some serious talent, and we just what. And the thing is, and then when we have moments where we can highlight it, we do pop/R&B.
Exactly, and that's the thing, and that's why I mean, like, the engineering of it. It's like, it's Dua Lipa, she has to win something because it's Dua Lipa. Like, she does numbers. It makes sense. But when we don't even have a board or an organization that is there to represent R&B, there is no R&B quote unquote darling in the UK at the moment. There's no one who we're holding up and saying, all right, you're going to be the face of this kind of thing. Because we could even look at, I don't know, Daves and Stormzy and say, okay, you guys you're going to represent the rap, just rap, whether it's grime, hip hop, whatever, you're just representing rap in the UK. Adele, you're superstardom, Dua Lipa, you're pop. And it's so narrow-minded right now. And that's one of my huge frustrations with the music industry, because it feels like, as you just said, there's such a plethora and a palette of different types of art and art forms, and artists who really, really are amazing and have been grinding for time. Someone like Shay Lingo comes to mind, because he even stepped back from doing music. I don't know if he's coming back now, but he publicly said in Instagram not too long ago, it was just like, bro, this is jarring. Like, obviously stuff was probably going on in his own personal life as well, but the contributing factor is, we know how long he's been doing bits. Like, I remember going to open mics with him, not with him, but at the same open mics 10 years ago or something, 8 years ago maybe actually. But it gets to that point where it's like, I don't think I can do anything more myself. No. You need not a cosign, but you just need something that has a bit of leverage to push you.
But that's why I want us as consumers to recognize how the power that we have. That's why I'm big on discovering artists. I'm just not gonna let Spotify tell me what I need to be listening to, because best believe it's all those deals with the labels and stuff that they have where they release music straight on there. And this is it as well. It's because now I've got a bit more of an insight of the industry. Like, it's so orchestrated. It's
It's not. It's
once if you just got a good manager with a good ass deal that knows people at Spotify really well, you're getting flung onto those playlists. Yeah. Like honestly, I'm not gonna name names, but there's definitely some artists that I'm like, okay, yeah, you're good, but you're not that great. But you're suddenly everywhere. And is it like, I don't know, no.
When you really deep it, and you look at it for what it actually is, it is very icky. Like,
it is icky,
because you think, why is this person getting so much support? Why are we all of a sudden just endorsing one act as well, or one sound? For instance, it's like, because I even remember whose it was. Digga D tune came on when I was in some calf. And they were playing just old school tune. Then Digga D Pump 101 came on, old school tune. And I was thinking, first of all these old school tunes, we've been hearing these same songs for 25 years nearly or something. Like, they're great records. I get it, innit? But come on, like, radio should be innovative rather than just reflective of what's happened already. But then even with the Pump 101 thing, I actually like that tune a lot.
I like it. I like it because the beat.
Do you remember it, the 50 Cent version?
Yeah.
Like, it's a sick tune.
Even though, and to be fair, like, Diggity, even though it jars me because I don't want to be listening to lyrics like that, to be quite honest with
this
you.
Is the thing. For the radio and what we understand radio to be, which is censorship really, you would not really imagine a song with that kind of content on the radio, but because it's Digga D,
I know.
Whoever, I can't remember what station it was, but they have to play it.
Yeah.
And they will even censor it. Like, they won't get a clean version sent to them. Someone like me, get a clean version, make sure you got this. It's like, no. Diggity, we have to. We're going to play it, we'll clean it up, and then it's out there for everyone to hear.
Which is so interesting as well, because it's like, radio was and has been like the main way that we'd consume music before. Obviously, way before DSPs and all that, way before that. And almost like when the digital streaming platforms came on and you could stream music, in a way, it became more like, well, we can listen to what we want to listen to whenever we want to listen to it now.
Yeah.
But then now with the playlist, we're almost still falling back into this idea of being spoon fed the music that you should be listening to. And again, I make the point of, if you're actually a music lover, go out and actively try and find artists, because best believe those artists, like, firstly, I think the most important time for an artist is when they've just started and they're going off that raw support, just 100. Random people or like your friends around you. That is when you're gonna need, because once you land yourself, and I'm not saying you need to stop supporting artists, but I find it very interesting how, let's just say you're an artist, let's just say I would never ever play your shit, I would never repost it, but I will be reposting, let's say, Skepta all the time. Skepta doesn't really need that support. He doesn't need that visibility anymore. But artists on the come up need that.
100%.
But why do we feel like, what is...
I feel like a lot of it now especially comes down to social value, innit? Because your association to reposting me is not going to give you a lot of credit or credibility. But once you do a Skepta thing, that's also got social. It's already got social value there because people know it. It's recognizable. People already like it, whether it's just because it's his name, the actual song, or whatever it is. The brand of Skepta is going to make it seem like, oh, okay, cool, this person knows what they're talking about. They're listening to the right kind of stuff. Whereas, as you said, it takes active approach for someone to find something new, give it a chance, and then also go and endorse it as well. So it is a lot of rallying the troops and really like being committed to rallying the troops. I go, guys, come. I need like a team of you just to push what I'm doing as well. Like, it's a lot, even for what we do right now, because it's not just music. It's even like with the podcast or whatever you're doing. If you're a fashion person, if you're into your art, to get to that point where you have quote unquote social value, it's very difficult, because obviously there's so many people in this, I guess, in this tier group, if you want, in it. But that's why when you see the Shay Lingos or artists of that kind of, not just caliber, but at that point in their career, feeling the way that they do, it's a detriment, man, because the UK could be losing out on such great talent just because no one's thought, except Idris Elba, obviously you went and signed him, but like no one's really thinking, let me be active. Let me not be reactive just to the fact they got 100,000 play or whatever.
And this is why I love platforms like Colours on YouTube. Love that platform. This is also why I love Selection, and I feel like real music lovers love these other platforms where you're going to be introduced to new artists. And the thing is, with people like Colours and Selection, like the amount of artists I've been introduced to through Selection's playlists and through their DJ sets and stuff, and the same with Colours. And it's like, you then trust their judgment on it. Like you trust that, like, okay, if they've got them on. I mean, there's some hit and misses with Colours, but it's interesting though, because even when they've brought on some artists that are like, I'd say almost bigger and cloutier, I'm like, Colours, why are you doing that? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, for instance, when they had Alicia Keys come on, I didn't know how I felt about that, because I was like,
I don't even think I saw that one.
Yeah, Alicia Keys had one. Okay. I think with Sir.
Oh, maybe I did actually. Yeah.
Which makes more sense, I think, maybe with Sir, because I think he already had a Colours anyway.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But I was a bit like, no, Colours, this is not the platform for that. Like, this is the platform for your Knox, for your Georgia Smiths back in the day, for your Mahalia, for your Pit Millet. Even though there was a time though where people were dragging Colours there because they were like, they just keep bringing on mixed-race girls with the same sound.
I remember that little
I heard what they were saying though.
That was around like Green Tea Pain.
Yeah, it was just all and it was like, I'm gonna sing really slow. Which
the
I
annoying
get
thing
though.
was, when they said it, I was like, do you know what?
It's true, it's right.
I'm hearing it.
It is right. But but I love Colours because I could trust that they're good. I feel like I mean, you probably know more of the process of how you get on Colours, because you have to apply and stuff, innit? Or
it's two-pronged, isn't it? Like, people do submissions and everything, but they
also probably
they
go out
have
and find people.
Exactly, like they kind of have their own A&Rs as well. You scout people like, you should come on. But you see people there who not like big or anything. I remember seeing Dre and Mac on there, Flow High on there before any numbers or anything.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, these lot are sick, you know. And they're from South London or whatever, and you're thinking, oh, these local, not to minimize anyone, but local based artists, like, it's sick.
And even when it's like you've gone back, because like, for instance, I didn't even know Hack Baker done her colours, and it's only because more recently where I've like been like really fucking with Hack Baker's music. I was like, oh raw, and then that even gives colours for me more weight, because it's like oh, you knew exactly, you knew about these artists, and they rightfully did grow and grow and grow. But I think in terms of like the industry and its cloutiness, can clout not be the death of us, please? Can it not be the death of us, please?
But you know what? On the flip side, there needs to be a space for those people who, or those artists, or those people of the industry who it's like, do you know what? We've done, like, say Alicia Keys, for instance, as you just said, it's like, you wouldn't really want to see her on colours, innit? Because it feels too inauthentic. It's like, oh, you're just going for that person. Those people who surpass colours level or mahogany level or so far sounds level, etc. They need a space as well, innit? Which it just so happens to be, that's the radio. And I think that's why, even when I'm saying I'm at peace, one of the things I'm at peace with is the fact that, okay, where I sit right now, and not just me, I feel I'm very reflective of a lot of independent artists in it, because we have X amount of budget, X amount of time, because we got to go and do another job and all this kind of stuff. We have finite resources in terms of producers and people that are going to come in and contribute to your sessions, etc. It's like, cool, let's not even look at the Brits. Like, it's not quite for us yet. Like, there's a lot of artists who can get there, but say even Sims, best newcomer on her 4th album. Like,
it's embarrassing.
It doesn't even make sense, but it's like, cool, just keep grinding, keep working, keep doing the right quote unquote things. But
this is when it's like, I'd expect more from the Mobos, and I don't think really the Mobos did it for me last year.
I don't really remember, you know.
Yeah, but I don't really think it was, I mean, obviously better than the Brits in a way, but the Brits obviously has got to cover more, but the Mobos is for music of black origin. And I remember actually watching some of it, and just still thinking a bit like, but maybe this is the case with any award show. No, like, it's gonna be like this. Like, it's never gonna be that real and authentic. It's never gonna be, you know, really about bigging up the artist from the ground up. Like, because even Central C, I remember when he came up and he got his thing, he was like, well, I ain't really a newcomer. And he said. But yeah, like, I mean, there's definitely winners of some categories that I very much questioned. Hold Tight Gets, though, because Gets won.
Was he best rap?
I think so, yeah. Even though I was like, this has been a long time fucking coming.
Yeah, no, even just seeing on his Insta all the different things like Enemy, Brit, all the different things he's been nominated for. It's like, this just feels like right, and like it should have been happening, but it's here now, so that's a great thing for somebody like him, because it's been coming. Who
would you say an artist that just has not got the recognition they deserve by now?
I would say someone like Shay Lingo.
Yeah.
Genuinely, like, because even I put him in the same kind of bracket, I guess, this weird alternative hip hop thing, which is just anyone who's not drill or grime or UK rap in it. I put him at the same levels as like the Kojis, the Little Sims, the even Slow Ties, if you put him in that kind of bracket as well. And it's like, I don't think enough people understand how good Shay Lingo is.
Yeah.
Like, and again, it's just a credibility thing. Like, he's not seen outside of a lot of the normal circles that you might see someone who does quote unquote alternative rap. So he's been on Colours years ago, and it was sick. He's been doing a lot of stuff, whether it was go on GRM, link up, he's done all of those things. But yeah, man, levels and just the engineering of this industry, it's tight. What about you? Who would you say?
Do you know what? A name that popped in my head was Shay Universe. I think her voice is so distinctive. I remember one time I was watching something like, I think I was watching like a music video, but you know in America they do like these short films as music videos. I can't remember what the artist was, and I remember hearing this woman's voice, and I was like, that's Shay Universe. Her voice is so distinctive that personally I feel like she should be further than she actually is in terms of her range of what she can cover. But then it also really does bring me to this point here where is it because okay
go there
okay, so I'm a fan of Adele. I'll never take away from, especially her writing. It's
Yeah.
incredible. She's an amazing singer. But I did have to ask my mum, if Adele was black, do you think she'd be as big
Answer
as
is
she
no.
is now? And she was like, oh, hell no.
Answer is no.
Oh, hell no. And I look at some of these artists, and some artists are very, very big because it's almost like they've got the sound of a black person, but they're not black.
Yeah, no.
On code. And then I do.
Amelia, this is the truth. Isn't it? Like, this is the truth.
And I look at, and this is why when especially in the R&B scene as well, and then there's, or just in general in our scene when you have like dark skinned women or even like dark skinned men that just are not getting as far. They, like, let's just say if they were maybe a few shades lighter and looked a little bit different, then they might be further than they are. So I think that in itself is a major con of the industry as well,
100%.
because
even when you're saying industry, I think even to define that, it's like the established or the establishments of the music industry. So whether it's the record labels or established radio stations, established publications, maybe like a Music Week or whatever, and who are the people that get most represented in those. Because I always think of like, I just think of someone like H, for instance, and hella talented, good rapper, good artist. He kind of got most of his notoriety, first of all, from the freestyle he did, straight rhymes or something, which was cool.
Yeah.
And then the remix, was it Keisha Becky? Yeah, Keisha Becky, that remix.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously that's Russ and Tion Wayne's thing. Then there's him and there's a bunch of other people, J1, etc., etc., etc. His verse was good in it, but I think the follow through from that was just so disproportionate. And some of the places where you might see an H place, because Russ and Tion are still getting loads of success. Yeah. But it's not from like, quote unquote, the industry. It's more from platforms or more from the way they've managed to get themselves into playlists. It just feels like they've gone through a whole different way of getting that success than where you might see an H or an Adele or even nowadays an RD and stuff. And it's not to take away from the talent or commitment that these people have put into their art, but it's very clear and obvious that there's, and probably it's just, this might also be where the consumers are come into it as well, because we live in England. England is what, 90 or 88% English. As soon as you see someone who reflects you, especially in a way where it's like, that's kind of cool because you sing like a black woman, or you rap like the rest of the art. Yeah, exactly. Or you rap just like the rest of the artists around you, or probably black as well. It's like, okay, this is sick. But yeah, man, it's definitely a factor. We see it. Eminem, when he came through, he always said it himself. Like, I wouldn't be as big as I am if I wasn't white. Like, it's just the truth. It's just the truth.
Yeah, and and it also, I guess, it does take back that onus on us as consumers of, again, stop allowing yourself just to be spoon-fed the playlist, the artists. But then again, I think I'm a little bit of a person where I think I deliberately try to go against the mainstream artists in a way. Like, I want to be that person of like, I discovered this artist. I love that, because for me, I'm like, I'm about to bust you. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it comes a part of it, plus just loving that music and wanting to find, especially when the UK. Do you know what artist I just honestly, even now, I'm like, it's taking them this long to get recognised in Knox.
Yeah, and even then, it's like
he's still he's
there's
not,
still like a push that could go there as well.
But like, he's been doing this shit for time, and his sound's always been different. And it's like, and it's the same with Koji as well, which makes a hell of a lot of sense by them two who obviously like collabed on music and stuff like that. But even like Shay Lingo falls into all of that as well. And it's like, I feel like that kind of different sound, it takes people longer to get on board with it. And even Koji's having to probably go more, like, change his sound a little bit so it's more palatable for a wider audience.
Yeah.
But then it's like, are we almost, what's the word? Cutting our arm off in it a little bit in terms of like consumers of what the brilliance of music we can consume, because basically we have to make it sound like everything else basically for us to enjoy it. Yeah,
no, we are 100%. Like, a lot of people are missing out on very, very good music, but that's because, as you said, it's not spoon fed to them.
Yeah.
But I remember Koji, and I think I'm gonna bring Shay in again, but I know definitely Koji last year around this kind of time anyway. Last year, 2021, was really putting this out of, don't call me underrated, because the people that know me rate me. People that know Nux rate Nux. People that know Shay rate him. People that know Sims rate her. People that know they rate these people. So it's not the fact that they're underrated, it's just that they're under acknowledged. Like they're not given a fair opportunity to be like going against the people who are getting all the numbers, or just not the clout, yes, that's not fair, but the people that are the most commercially successful. It's like then you don't have the opportunity. But you're rated. Like these are really rated artists. As you said, Nux is sick.
Nux is
been doing his thing. And because it's different, again, that's where the industry distinction comes in. The industry knows what works for it. As in, if you just think of the industry as an engine, it knows that it needs a certain amount of fuel, a certain type of fuel, to ensure that the car can take itself 100 miles away. If you start giving it something different, like a Koji Might or all these names we've already mentioned, the engine might start stuttering, because it's like, oh, are we ready for this type of fuel? Like, I don't know how we manage this, and it might only go 50 miles. But then, it's something that the industry needs to work out for itself. Like
industry.
It just needs to work.
We also forget. Do you know what I find funny with when we use terms like industry, institutions, organizations? It's we take the people out of it. It's people that make these decisions.
It's people, yeah.
It's people that make these decisions, and they hide behind all this language.
That's true.
So it's almost like a system that we can't change. We can absolutely change it, and that's why. And this is it though. That's why I think the importance of Channel U and what that was.
Super fact.
Because it was, we very much ran what was on Channel U. You had anyone, whatever level you were, submit, and that was very much for a sound that wasn't getting its recognition. And that's why also when it's like, when I look at the history of, I'll say like music of black origin in the UK, we've always had to fight to make space. And I don't know whether our place is in the mainstream, because we've always had to fight to make our own channels, have our own radio shows. Like, we're going to make space. And it's almost like, let's not now create the same barriers that were the barriers that were stopping us getting where we wanted to get to. Let's not have that elitism, please. Let's not lose touch from where our music came from and how hard it is for black artists to come up. Because this clickiness, it's like, please remember our history. Like EK was saying, grime, it started from like everyone crowded up in one fucking room.
It's tight, it's sweaty, it's uncomfortable.
Let's not lose
and
it.
Even though it's competitive, like everyone in that room understands, okay, cool, we're all going in with the same intention, hopefully with a similar outcome as well. Like, we're all going to try and get onto the microphone, we're all going to come with some bars pre-prepared, we're all going to make sure that if something's sick, we're real in our response to it. Like, gunthing, whatever it is, wheel it up, anything, like that can't get lost along the way to commercial, or it shouldn't get lost too much along the way to commercial success. It's hard for certain artists though, because I know that, as I said before, like a Stormzy, for instance, he's all of a sudden he's just the face of a whole multitude of cultures, and it just gets painted as black rap or whatever. And it's like, that's a big burden I can imagine for one individual to have to carry. But you're right, that's where it's like the people around him, those who don't even create the music, it's like, all right, how can we alleviate you of being just that one individual who's upholding all of this? It's like, this is where whoever fits in and this other person fits in. Okay, now we have an R&B category. Oh my gosh, look at that, amazing.
But even like with R&B, and there's a few artists, particularly like black and women artists, that have spoken about this, where they do not create R&B music. But Rachel Chinariri wrote a massive, and props to her. She wrote something on Twitter, on social media, just speaking about the fact that she creates electronic indie music, but because she's a black woman, it always gets like put under the category of R&B.
R&B. And this is another thing, like she also said at the beginning that wasn't the case. People were very just clear with what she was making. It was indie, pop, those electronic, all of those elements, and people knew that. And all of a sudden, when it got to a certain stage, it just became what you just described of, all right, R&B, alternative R&B, soul. She's like, I don't make any of this. They're not my influences. Like, it's not what I put in my stuff. So where does that come from?
And
where does that bias come from? Where does that bias come from?
Well. But yeah, and the thing is, I can understand though, especially in those industries, even though it's like, I think again, we need to remember a lot of our roots because there's so much music. Like, it makes me laugh as well. Like, I remember on Twitter at one point, everyone was like, unce music is like essentially white people's music. But house music very much derived from black culture. Like, let's not, just because that's not what is put in front of our face. Oh my God, there was a post and I can't remember it of how they put it, or I think it might be even been a video of all the black women that have been forgotten about within the house scene.
Wow.
If you think about house music though, who's talking on it most of the time?
Those voices that are
in the beginning there was house.
Literally, hey, we need you on a house tune, man.
Do you know what I mean? But it's so interesting how we see house music as is white music.
Facts.
When no. And then what do you do as a black artist then? Almost going into this quote unquote white territory. And you're busting through with every right, because essentially music is about sounds that we make. It's not about the colour of your skin. It's about sounds you make. And then you're trying to go into that direction, and then you're just flung over to the R&B side, or you're flung over to the rap side. When really you create grime and UK rap. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just this laziness, which makes me feel like it's because the people making these decisions, they're not real music lovers. They're probably lovers of the industry and the money,
and that's the thing
it makes, but not the love of music. That
again is a major key. When we're talking about the industry, another distinction is, are you looking at the music or are you looking at the product? Like, because as soon as the artist or the art just becomes an asset or a product, you don't care. Like, go do whatever you're doing in the studio. Just make it sound good enough that I know how to put this in a certain space. And that's why you hear a lot of artists, when they have been signed, they come out of the deal, especially in America. I feel like this happens where, like, oh my gosh, I wish I never got signed, and oh my gosh, they always used to say I have to sit with this artist and do it in this way. One of the most recent examples of how that whole journey can really falter an artist, I think, is Tiana Taylor. I was going to say Tiana Major 9. No, Tiana Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, everything she was saying about the process of her, probably the last album that she released, like, this is not what I made, essentially.
I didn't catch that. What was she saying?
Basically, she had, because she was under Good Music with Kanye and all of them lot, and Kanye decided, let me just say, Good Music had decided they're going to release 7 albums over 7 weeks, and they're all 7 tracks each, pretty much. Okay. And it was like a, numerology, I don't know.
Right.
They were going for something, innit? Like, as a concept, as an idea, it's like, all right, cool, that could be interesting, innit?
Yeah.
But really and truly, it just means album number 1, by the time it's week number 6, everyone's probably forgotten about that because they're already just fixated on what this one is. I can't remember where along the line hers was, but the actual project that came out, she must have created like a long length, a proper LP, which might have had 13 tracks on it or something, different sounds, different production, etc. But literally, on to the day of it coming out, it was just getting cut until it was about 7 tracks. Some of the stuff that she thought was going to be in it from like a day or 2 before had gone. So the actual body of work that went out, because she doesn't own her music really, wasn't even what she thought might come out a couple of days before. So she's kind of left with this, do I even want to endorse this thing that doesn't sound like what I really wanted to create? It's tough. It's really, really tough for a lot of artists when you don't have autonomy over what's actually going out. When you're told you've got to sit with this person, these are the producers or the executive producers who are going to come in, finish all your work. But I mean, the benefit is you get loads of money.
But this is it though as well. And I think this is also like a reflection of like where we are now with how we consume music, how quick we consume music now. Yeah. So like, we're both creators, we're both artists, and I think me and you both know and have felt the frustrations of like having to feel like you have to create something, but it's not authentically like flowing to you. And I see it now with the music industry of how quickly we consume music, how quickly we forget about music now. And this pressure then for artists to have to be creating and flinging out. But creativity doesn't work like that. It doesn't work in a 9-to-5 like concept. It doesn't work in a like, you have to produce this amount of work in this amount of time for you to get it out. And that is incredibly frustrating, because now I'm thinking of Tiana Taylor, and are we really hearing her art
No,
that way?
we're
Are we
not.
hearing our gift?
We missed out on some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was something subsequently released, but the fact that was what was given to us, and she herself was like, this ain't it. Like, this is not what I wanted out.
But because other people who essentially know the business side of it,
Mhm.
that really annoys me, you know? That really annoys
It's jarring. It's jarring.
It's like, you're not the artist, you're not the, because that's also, let's remember, the artist, they are the creator
Exactly.
of their
You're the
art.
creator.
It's the art that is being sold, the
Mhm.
artist who then comes with it, because there's also some artists very much that don't really want to be, like, they just want to put out the music and then just leave me alone,
Yeah,
like,
just live
fine.
the life, yeah.
But then this whole industry comes in and tells you kind of how you have to do it, almost telling you, no, it would sound better like this. And yes, there are, like, you know, your producers, your engineers who understand the craft of it.
Yeah.
But then you have the big men in suits, and I don't know why I just see like big white men in suits with briefcases telling you to sign the dotted line. Where also another thing is, how many artists have been swindled out on a fucking shit deal, and I'm sorry, the people know that they're dubbing you. Duping you? What's the word?
You.
Yeah, they're duping you.
Yeah.
They know.
100%.
They know. So, like, really, are you a lover of music and art in that way, or are you just trying to get money?
They're trying to get money. And I think this is where we all have to be really strict on ourselves as well. Because it's difficult, because it depends where you're coming into one of these kind of agreements. And there's an element of accountability, not a lot, because obviously if someone says, I think this even happened with that Hazy kid actually not long ago, like, there was an amount of money that was presented to probably his mum, because he's super young. He's not an adult. He can't sign anything himself. I think apparently she had taken whatever that deal was, and then when someone else saw it, they were like, yo, this doesn't make sense. Like, you could do better, essentially. But a lot of artists don't have that kind of qualification, if you want, to be able to interpret, oh, so when you as an industry sees this song and the response it's getting on social media, you're able to equate that into this profit and this length of time that is successful, and all of these different parts that creatives are not thinking about when they create their stuff. A lot of the time it's just, oh, that line really, really well. Okay, let's just make that happen. And I think Lauryn Hill again is a great example of, she made a sick album. Obviously whatever else was going on in her life happened, but it clearly showed that she was not gonna conform to what the standards of the industry was, where it's like, all right, you've dropped this album, we need another one in 2 years, and then you have this 5-year deal, so we need one pretty much every 2 years or whatever. And it's like, as you say, creativity doesn't work like that. You can force people to be like that, but you're not going to get the best art. But then again, it goes to, do they care about that?
No.
It's like, no, that's why we're giving you this producer, because we're going to make this, and then it will go out, and don't worry about it.
But then that also even ties into DSPs and your Spotify's and all that. Because I find it very, very interesting that essentially I see Spotify, Apple Music, all of that as the middleman. They're the middleman.
Yeah.
So it's like they would have nothing. They would have nothing if it wasn't for the artist to create.
Yeah.
Like creating. And also if it wasn't for us then listening on those platforms. So why is it artists get paid pennies? Please?
I don't know why they do it as badly as they do it, because it doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense. People can get paid even double the amount that they pay us now, and it still be profitable. So
is it exploitation?
It is 100%. 100%.
We say this as this is going out on DS.
Yeah, literally. This is the thing.
We might get cancelled.
I know. But it's mad because, like, let's say Bandcamp seems to have the best model in terms of artist to audience dynamic that you can have.
Yeah.
It can go straight to your audience. They have direct access to what you're doing. It's still middleman, but they will allow your audience to pay whatever they feel that they want to pay, for instance. So whilst 1,000 streams on Spotify is equivalent to about $5, someone might hear Energy and be like, you know what, I love this song. Here's a $5. Straight away, rather than having to listen to it 1,000 times, or getting 1,000 people to listen to it once, or whatever the ratio is going to be. But that just doesn't make sense.
I know.
It doesn't make sense that you're going to commit your life to something, and then if you get 1 million streams, which is a big number, really, but you're getting 1 million streams, you get 5 grand, which is a nice number.
But even still,
how often are you getting, like, unless you're at a certain point in your artist journey, to get 1 million streams each time that you're releasing something, especially now when they feel like you have to release something really consistently, once every few weeks, once every month, make sure something's out. It's like, wow, what is the engine I have that's going to be able to make this sustainable?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's really tough.
It is. I think I want to loop back to where I initially started with this, and obviously talking about egos and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think, I mean, then obviously when you look at the journey and obviously like what artists have to go through and stuff like that, I can get also that maybe what might be deemed as ego is people setting boundaries.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You know what I mean? Which I think is very healthy. Yeah.
Some people might be like, oh, they're so stuck up or whatever. When really, it's just like, that's my boundary.
Yeah.
I've been here. You could have shouted to me in the event rather than the after party where you want to do an actual human being.
They're probably exhausted as well. Like, yeah, it could be all big parts of that. But at the same time, I mean, for instance, when I was waiting to go in this venue, there was like people pulling up, automatically going to the front because obviously they believe that they were more important than others. Which when I'm actually, and I'm not going to name any names, but when I'm actually kind of looking at your career path, I'm like, well, why don't I just go do that then? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're an influencer now.
Yeah.
Like, because you went on a particular show, like, okay, which is open to the public.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think, but then again, I'm also like, how much is that down to your personality trait as well? Because I've also met some artists that are bigger than some that have less of an ego, less of an ego. And you can then generally feel that they create this music because they actually love what they do, or they are so like humble in a way that it's just, because I don't expect everyone, like, I don't know how I feel about it. You must be humble. Like, sometimes believe in your greatness. Like, you're good, you're great. Yeah. But this idea that you're better than everyone else, I don't know if I can fuck with that. And like I said to you in the car though, because then also I feel like a lot of people want to go in this journey. I mean, in this industry, for 2 different reasons. Well, like 2 main different reasons. Either because it's the talent, or they want to chase the popularity. They just want to be popular. So then some people actually, there's my quote, they want to be known by everyone, but they don't want to get to know anyone. So they just want everybody to know them. Look, everybody, look at me, what I'm doing, but shut up. I don't want to hear from you.
Don't tell me a thing.
I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to talk to you unless you are higher than me and I can get up to your level. Anyone below me, I don't want to know you. And I mean, I'm not saying everyone in the industry is like that, because they're absolutely not. But obviously there are people like that. And it looks hella salty though, if you like, because the way it's like popcorn careers, the way 1 minute you're hot and then you're not, then it's like, oh, right then. Oh, okay, but you were acting like that in the function. Okay. I'm joking. That sounds salty. I'm not salty at all. Like, but yeah, it just kind of, I just don't know whether industry events are for me.
I was about to ask, do you see yourself as industry now, and do you enjoy being in the industry? Not just like industry events, but like you're in the industry. I'd say now, innit?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would say I am. Like, it's interesting as well because it's like, okay, I'm on I'm part of a massive broadcasting station. Like, it's massive anyway, and obviously it's got your different stations. But I do also feel this level of, which is really interesting, because obviously I'm on BBC Radio London. It is local radio. It's not your One Extra. It's not your Radio 1. But at the same time, it's still a platform to play music. And I actively go out and source my guests. And there's definitely some responses that I would get from people that I'm like, okay, rah. Or like no response, which is fine, because it's like, it's not, I don't need a response from you. Fine, you could be busy, it's not the right time, whatever. But I feel like if I was coming from, I'm on One Extra, it's different. Do you know what I mean? But essentially I'm like, you don't know who's listening. Like, you really, really, this is BBC. You got to understand, some other radio presenters or producers are listening to other radio shows to see who else is out there. Like, anyone that's really on it is going to see. So you really, really don't know who's listening. So remember that, please.
Talk to Amelia nicely.
No, not even that. But in terms of like, do I think I'm industry now? Well, I'll definitely say I'm in the industry. I still feel very new. Like I'm still learning, but I think also this is the best time for me though, because I'm just consuming. Like everyone and anyone I meet, I go with the mentality of you could teach me something new. Like I don't think I'm better than anyone else, and I never ever want to think I'm better than anyone else. Whether I've been doing this for 20 years, I don't want to ever lose that freshness of like coming in, and like also because there's also some people I've had on my show that that will tell me on a regular basis. Like, I mean, I'll never forget that like you were my first person that got me on like a BBC radio station, and like you were the first person to ever interview me. Like I'll never ever forget, and I don't want to ever lose the impact of what that can do for people just because I'm getting no's from here or nothings or whatever. Because best believe, obviously, I'm not doing this just to stay on one level. Like I'm gonna grow.
Of course, growth is inevitable.
But then moving forward, I think I always want to remain real, Jenny from the block. Do you know what I mean? Would you say your industry? Would you say you're a bit bougie?
That's two different questions. I feel like the bougie one's a bit loaded. Like, what are you saying?
Would you say your industry?
No, I wouldn't.
Why?
I think this might sound mad, but I think I'm like the complete opposite of industry, if I'm honest.
What's the opposite of industry? Independent.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think I'm super DIY in it. Like even if I go to a music event or a music function, it's typically an independent one. Like someone has set this up who that person and you might even know each other, or you know someone who knows it. It's not like difficult for you to get in contact with the people who've created this thing. And I think I'm just part of the music sphere that's very much like it's just DIY, I guess, isn't it? And that's not to say it's a better space, because believe you and me, there's egos in this space where people think they're better than other people and they don't want to work with this person or don't want to do this show, etc. And I think
name names. I'm joking.
No, I'm good, I'm good. I think there's a real balancing act though between trying to like establish your own worth and your own value in your time, and some of the stuff that you might do and might not do, in fact. But yeah, I think because I've never had any kind of label back in, or any kind of distribution back in, or any kind of just anything that I would associate with the industry.
Right,
I wouldn't say I'm industry. I'd just put my foot in the industry, but like I don't think I am.
So if someone like within the next month or so you were presented with a label deal, would you take it?
Depends on the deal. That's it. I would never like shoot anybody down for signing a label contract. There was a point in my life I was like, labels, fuck them. Oh my god, how dare you? I was like, work phase, isn't it? But I'm very much more balanced with it now, because label deals help loads of people, loads and loads of people. Like, and as soon as you are signed to a label, there are still some benefits that come with it. Some. Whether that is the networks that they have now, or the fact that, you know, at least for a limited time, they should be putting everything into, or a lot into you to make sure that they recoup at the bare minimum kind of thing. So yeah, I'd look at it, definitely look at it. And if it sounded like, oh, this makes sense, then I'd run with it. But I don't know if I foresee that in my future, if I'm totally honest. If it comes, it comes though.
All right then. What if I set up a label when I signed you?
Let's do it.
I wouldn't know what I'm doing, you know. Do you know what?
All right, so Amelia, let's do it, man. We'll be in here and just carry on.
I've been told a few times, Amelia, you should become like a manager or something. I'm thinking, stop it now. Just because I know how to
That's a whole. That's a lot.
But managers though.
That's a good combo as well. Managers, innit?
Because some managers will actually be for you and some will be against you. Because I've
blessings.
Honestly, I've spoken to some artists and then spoken to their managers, and I'm like, why?
Innit, you lot work together.
Yeah, like why is your manager so difficult? Like, it's not professionalism. Like, I think people need to understand the difference between, like, firstly, if you're a manager, you need to be a people person. You need to be a people person, and you cannot have the attitude that you believe that your artist should have. Like, if I'm expecting anyone to be bougie, let it be the artist. You know what I mean? Like,
for real.
This manager, like, or they just, it's like remember, we're dealing with people here. Like, stop with this, like, just fake professionalism. Stop it. It's so annoying. So annoying. Like, sometimes it's like, especially if I've known the artist on like on a personal level. It's like, oh, you're gonna have to go for my manager. Cool. the next minute I'm not even getting a reply from your manager, or like you're calling me, you don't know what the situation is. And I was like, oh my God. Like managers, like honestly, and there's some managers that are incredible and they're great to work with. And actually, those are the ones that I've ended up keeping a relationship with.
Of course.
Because I'm like, just when you get the music, send it to me, like whatever. Yeah. And I appreciate those. And those are the ones actually that have a lighter touch. Yeah. They're just more like, oh, yo, Amelia, check this out. Or rather than, oh, can you tell me? Just please.
It's too much. It's too much.
Or you're not reading the room in terms of like asking for money, bro. You're not reading the fucking room.
Oh man. It's really annoying when it's people you know as well. Because you're thinking, where did this hat come from that you've just thrown on your head, and now you want to ask mad questions because they will know the setup as well. It's like, if you know the setup, not comply, but come on, like, you know what goes behind this and what goes into this. Because even with stuff like doing events, and then you want to book something like, oh yo, obviously come through, do this, and just like, you will get paid and everything. Yeah. But then it's just like, all right, cool, let me speak to my manager, because the manager has a vested interest in what that artist is doing. And I remember there was one artist, I won't say names, but we were like, we're friends and everything. And when they directed me to their manager, the whole thing went left. Like, not like we had an argument or anything, but it was like, I don't think you want this person to have opportunities, because what you're asking for doesn't make sense. Yeah. This is a small to medium sized gig we're talking about. The remuneration is not grand. Like, it's going to be nominal if we're really like, but with where the artist is and what they're doing and what I know that they want to do in the near future, but where they're at right now, this makes so much sense. So why are you going on like you're expecting to do the O2 next? Because it's not happening.
And the thing is, I can understand though where it's like, you, like we were saying earlier, like equating your value and like learning, okay, cool, because you can't say yes to everything, which I get. Of course not. But also I think there's a flip side to it. Yes, sometimes it's the manager blocking, but also sometimes it's the artist saying to the manager, can you say no? Because I can't say no to them.
That definitely
I'll hide behind my manager like, oh bro, I would love to do it, but let me chat with my manager. My manager said no, you know.
Let me not even feel like I've never done that before.
See?
I can't lie, because there's certain times it's like, I don't know how to say no to. And you know, a lot of the times that might be like the more like the community stuff sometimes, where I'm like, I know I can't do this, but I'm gonna default this into somebody else or delegate this into somebody else. It's happened one or two times, but And
why didn't you want to do it?
It just wasn't for me. Yeah. Like, there's certain things that people, and again, I think it comes down to that perspective of who maybe they think I am, which it might have been where I was at a certain point, but it's like I've left that kind of phase of thinking or those initiatives kind of thing, and it's like I'll let someone else do this one. Just because sometimes you just can't be bothered. Yeah,
no, it's true. It's true. And like, you can't say yes to everything, and then you're just tiring yourself out. You're just tiring yourself out doing every gig going. And and also ultimately you want to start moving up, innit? You want to start, yes, you could do so many of the same kind of things, but it's like, now I need to start like just saying no to certain things to allow myself to say yes to other stuff. So it's fine, but managers still, there's some that are just difficult.
We should chat to a manager as well.
We should. Well, I'm not gonna name names. We'll see if I could get him. Let's see if I could get him. He's doing very, very, very well in the industry. But I think he's definitely bougie as well. He's definitely bougie.
So we'll unpack that. Unpack that bouginess. Like, where does this come from, really?
Especially like, bro, I know you grew up in the ends, bro. Like, why are you bougie now? But it's not to say anyone from the ends can't be bougie. So.
And I guess when you hit a certain level in the industry, because there's money in the music industry, when you're at that point, which again is another differentiating factor, you probably have different experiences, and if you do that for long enough, they will soak into your identity a bit somehow, innit? So man, even though someone might have started in the end, so probably like,
it's true, innit? Because money really does, like, the more money you get, you do change slightly. I think even me and you were talking about it the other day, where it's like, obviously like before when I was like having little shitty jobs and whatever, like, and I had friends that were like proper in full-time jobs and they wanted to go Hakkasan. And I was like, I can't go, but I quit it. I was like, why are you trying to be bougie for? The real honest truth, because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I couldn't afford it. But now,
you have to be real, innit?
Honestly, catch me on a Wednesday. Yeah, I'll go sushi samba. Let's go somewhere like, do you know what I mean? Innit?
So we went to the shard and that.
But we went. Look at us. We went proper sushi samba on it was on a Wednesday,
it was on a weekday,
before like couple gigs and that.
Yeah.
Which I would do again because I deserve it. I deserve it. I know, innit? Yeah, but you're not gonna catch me down the local chicken and chip shop now.
No, you're too good for that.
No,
you're not East End no more, no.
But to be honest, I've never really liked chicken and chip shops anyway, so
no, I hate them.
It's fine.
I actually hate them. Like
exactly, it's
all
fine.
All trash.
But
yeah, man.
That's some things to get off my chest.
Yeah, you feel like you've come out.
Industry, how do I feel about it? I don't really know. Never felt that. You know, I'm joking. No, but yeah, just ego, which I think again is a personal decision that you make on the type of person that you're gonna be.
Let me ask you though. So say that event, for instance, that music industry event that had influencers. From your experience, what's one main thing that you would change? Like, say it was your event and you were going to do the next one. What's one thing that you change?
I think I would change. Oh, why is my phone on silent?
It's listening to us. See that?
I think what I would do. So yeah, actually, what I would do is I would do a music event that it's strictly people in the music industry, and I'm not saying that because influencers have a lot of power in influencing. You know what I mean? They might use your music for a latest post. However, I looked at that room and I thought to myself, I know so many artists that I feel like would have really benefited being in this room and having those conversations. So I think that's something I would do moving forward, like just to kind of bridge that gap a little bit more, where it seems like there's some parts of the industry just seem inaccessible, and it's 100%. Like you need to know someone. Like, it's about opening up those doors. So I think that's what I would have done. But at the same time, I can still also get it though, because it's like, I guess if you are, you're having an event where you have got big names in the room, you almost don't want people to just almost act with no behaviour. No, but
wait, if you're equating just no, artists
no. I get it. Like this, you have to. I guess if you're in that space and you are inviting a big artist down, you don't want them to just be swamped by people, almost like, oh my God, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to open it up to, like, the public, which I can understand. Maybe they're a bit more selective of, like, okay, these particular people have been in these spaces quite a lot, so there's this etiquette, which at the same time, I guess what I'm talking about is this etiquette of nobody can chat to me and whatever, so break it up. But however, I personally would create a party or event that has people of all levels in the music industry, and what's the word, instigate some networking, like have some moments of like just chat, man, not just come and get pissed. Like do that as well, but hold tight. But the thing is, hold tight Fusion though, that they have networking events normally at Box Park in Shoreditch.
Okay, dope.
And I know they got another one coming up soon. Now they moved to like Shoreditch House and stuff, so they're pretty much doing that stuff. But again, that is really like grassroots artists, I'll say, from the ground up. But at the same time, don't shit on these platforms now, because when they grow, that's the thing. Do you know what I mean? When they grow and they're growing with the same artists that they've been supporting, like, please. But yeah, that's one thing. I don't know whether I'm supposed to ask you, because
not everything's reciprocal, innit?
I know it's true. But yeah, okay, so do you have an in fact or an in opinion to share today?
I feel like this episode has had a lot of opinions.
Yeah, so we got to level it out with a fact.
Ooh, do I have a fact? Okay, a fact. Apparently, I do believe this is a fact.
Okay.
No, because I did research it, but and it was actually
fake news.
No, there was research that was done into this.
Yeah.
The most popular song of all time is Spice Girls. Which was the one? Ziggy Zig? What's that one?
I bet you wanna be my
Yes,
lover.
that one. That is the most popular song, or recognizable song, of all time.
Okay, which one is it?
It's recognizable, because I remember they did their research and it said something like within 0.2 seconds, people already know what that song is, and they'll start singing it. They measured it against a bunch of other really popular songs, but that's the most recognizable song of all time.
Okay, I didn't know that. I used to love Spice Girls.
I think everyone did, you know.
I was obsessed with them.
Because I definitely was on this. I don't like dispatch girls. No, they're crap.
Really?
They're just girls. Yeah. And I know all the words.
Yeah, exactly.
I know all their tunes. So yeah.
I liked when Mel B took over a bit. No, or Mel C. No, the Mixtress one.
Okay.
She was like, I wanna make you holla holla. This is when I think
that still.
you didn't know that one. That was when there was only
think
four
so.
of them. And so you weren't a true fan.
No, I wasn't.
Do you know? I've got a recommendation of something to watch.
Okay,
right?
go on.
And my mom made me watch it. Again, she's got all the lit ones. And it's about like the history of hip hop. But it was almost like a. Right, I need to find out what it was called.
That's all right. But I'll say in the meantime, a shout out to Paris because I actually went and watched the Shrink Next Door.
Yeah, I finished it as well.
You finished it as well, yeah?
Dope
series, yeah.
Dope, innit? Dope.
Yeah, and I think what Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd did in terms of like how they came across, because everyone knows them as comedic actors and comedic writers, etc. But how they depicted the characters, because it's based off a true story.
Fucked.
Which I was like, wait. This is mad. But yeah, if you still have not watched The Shrink Next Door, it's on Apple TV. Features, what's his name? I just said their names.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell, sorry. Really well done. Really well written. Really well acted. It does have a little bit of comedy, but it's more of a drama and it will keep you on your seats throughout pretty much each episode.
It's dope. So yeah, shout out to The Shrink Next Door. That's
Yeah.
On Disney Plus, it's called Hip Hop Uncovered. I would recommend watching it because essentially, so it's starring like Big U.
Okay.
Have you heard of Big U? See, these are names. Basically, it's basically the voices of people that were so important in the hip hop movement, but they've never really, like Big U massively co-signed Nipsey Hussle. But yeah, Big U is and it's got like Trick, Haitian Jack, and Anyway,
okay,
yeah.
The side players,
yeah,
not like,
almost. But how much?
Not the artists,
but like how much they were involved in this, and like very, 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 really, really interesting.
Former leader of the Rolling 60 Crips, Eugene Big U.
Yeah.
He was active.
But also, it really did make me think, that like. And I know we're near the end, and I just want to say the thought that, like, essentially, obviously, the hip hop scene in America, it was so linked to selling drugs and whatever, because that for them was a way out of
100.
That lifestyle. Yeah. Which I was thinking about the other day, that I'm like, we've had these big dons almost trying to pave the way out of this. Like, you don't have to do this for a living. Like, and now I feel like music is there, but then there is still that culture that it has to be tied with the crime and the stuff like that, which I know for some people that isn't really a choice for some people, and that is like you're a product of your environment and whatever. But where it is actually a choice of yours, that you want to go down this selling drugs thing and whatever because you want to be able to rap about it, don't do that, because we're going backwards in music. Like 100%. We're going backwards. Like a lot of the time, hip hop was also, it was a way of talking about the times we're in.
That's the thing. It was a broadcast. Really.
Literally, it was about all this stuff about fuck the police, because they had to talk about that stuff.
That was a broadcast of this is what's happening.
Do you know what I mean?
They used to call it reality rap.
This is what I'm saying. So now it's like, don't think, for you to rap, you have to talk about those experiences. They were only talking about it because that was their experience and they wanted to come out of it. And actually, also, another thing that me and my mum were talking about was this, because now they talk a lot about the younger generation now, and it's like
in the documentary.
Yeah, about we've almost lost like the etiquette, like music etiquette as well, of just like having respect, protecting your own, first and foremost, protecting your family, or first and foremost, like, having each other's backs and whatever. And it's just almost that integrity now is a little bit lost. I feel like a little bit, like you're doing things to better your community as well. Obviously, they spoke about some mad shit, but when I do hear, like, particularly drill will kind of always get what's the word, like painted with like a brush of like it's all negative. And again, I know some people are literally just speaking from their lived experiences, and I can't take that away from them. But now if you're like some middle class brother and you want to come in and you want
that's like me coming through being a drill artist.
But you want to talk about and also it's like, remember, music, we're trying to get away from that. Like we're trying to we're trying to get away from it. Because even when I think about Digga D's latest song, and the lyrics are very, very violent. And again, I don't know much about his life story, but I know he went jail, whatever like that. Yeah. And that's a big part of his life story. But still, if you do have a choice and a decision to move away from it, please, man, so we can stop in this cycle. Like, come on. But yeah, Hip Hop Uncovered.
Yeah, that goes
dope.
to the engineering thing again.
Yeah,
I won't go down into that again, but because I imagine on that, because I used to love all hip hop docs, and I imagine in that they talk about how, like, especially in the 80s where there's a crack epidemic, so of course there's so many people who are talking about drugs. In the 90s, you're dealing with police brutality, stuff like Rodney King that happened in LA, so of course they're going to talk about, like, but that was also the stuff that when those members of the industry decided, okay, we're going to pick up this narrative, we're going to run with it. All of that Public Enemy stuff, no. You go to the back KRS one. Sorry, no, it's too much positivity. Can't have that. Let's run with the drugs and the gangs, and this is the stuff that people in the suburbs are listening to. So we'll make sure that goes there. We still see it today. So yeah, that's why the industry is. It's a bit weird to me.
It is weird, but this is also because an example that they made of it as well. What's that guy's name again? The snitch with the coloured hair.
6ix9ine.
Yeah. But like, even for instance, that's someone again almost appropriating that culture. Like
100.
You came in, you wanted to be involved in all of that, and like, I'm sorry, one of the rules of the game is if you're going to be involved in it, if when shit hits a fan, you can't be snitching on everyone in the team, bro.
You know the rules now.
But he came in to be like, yeah. Then first thing you're jumping up in court. Do you know what I mean? Like, they had a lot to say about him. It's just funny because these are like big dons in the game now. This is like, they're like, this ain't the code. Like, where's the code gone? It's mad. And also Hold Tight Deb as well. She was in Love and Hip Hop as well, and I didn't realise that she was one of the women that really were doing this in the game. But also a lot of them were very attached to doing community work as well. It was really about like, yes, we come from this deprived area and stuff, but how can we give back to this same area? Which again, it's like, if you're an artist, you very much come from these areas. I think a big part of the hip hop culture is to give back. It is to like, you came from this, so how do I put back in that so no one else has to go through what I'm going through?
That's why big up someone like Stormzy, because what is it, the Cambridge
with Murky
scholarship, and then there's also the publications as well. It's
Murky
like
books.
It's sick because rightly or wrongly, you kind of end up having that responsibility of, okay, so now this is some of the stuff, these are some of the people that you just know are sick as well. How can I give them that opportunity as well? It's sick. Like, that's the kind of stuff that feels, quote unquote, it feels hip hop. Like, it does. And it's sick to see that kind of stuff still alive, but it's not everyone has that integrity. You're right. I know,
but then you got to think to yourself, like, sometimes it is a question of, well, if I can do it and I don't do it, who else is going to do it? Do you know what I mean?
That's why it's like, it's an unfair responsibility, but it's there. Now you're in the space. It's kind of like, well, if you don't, there's no one will. I know.
And then it's like, what? Do you forget where you came from? Like, do you know what I mean? And we don't want this to be a vicious cycle of people just growing up in environments where their opportunities to succeed are very, very limited. But if you now have come from that, so you understand it and you have the ability to, I'm not saying you have to, but
actually it benefits them as well.
So much.
When you look at someone like Dr. Dre, he wouldn't have this long sustained legacy and career if he didn't along the way say, hey, Snoop Dogg, hey, Eminem, hey, 50 Cent, hey, Kendrick, hey, Anderson .Paak, like all of these really sick talented artists from the West Coast, most of them, the game, etc. Like, feed yourself into what the next gen is doing, like talented people are doing behind you, because it's just going to extend your legacy anyway. If you want to think about it selfishly, use that as your inspiration.
It's giving us that ownership again, man. Because like we're talking about the white men in suits. Look what happened to straight out of Compton, Dr. J and all them. Look, you know what I mean? This, like, we need the ownership back. Do you know what I mean? And through your lived experience and your now expertise of understanding the industry, like someone come on, I'm not saying, do you know what I mean? Someone somehow come and just educate the younger generation, or like just make sure that we don't lose the integrity in what we're doing, and not just creating just stupid music, just talking about ballet up a brother and gore him in his chest, like, I'm bored. But
a lovely note to leave it on.
That's a lovely note to leave it on. But yeah, man.
But no, man, I feel like it's good that we have these chats about the industry because we're both in it in some way, shape, or form. In it.
But also, I think it's very important that we touch on other industries though as well, because even like I tell you, the politics within the acting industry.
I remember. I don't know if it was you or other people saying no, it's worse. I was
Lems.
like, how?
That's why I had to leave that behind. Acting is what I wanted to do.
We got to chat. Yeah, we actually have to chat about this.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to do.
Because I want to know. Like,
oh my God. Like, oh man. if I ever felt like a sellout, it was in the acting industry, man.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah. So we'll leave that on that.
Yeah, because that is a big topic in itself. Yeah.
But okay, cool.
But yeah, man.
You've been listening to In
Facts.
Chats. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and also hold tight you if you've been listening to us from the beginning right till now.
Or
Don't
even
worry.
if you just jumped in.
Yeah, we got you, man. We got you.
Right, cool. Sweet. Enjoy that. Bon appetit.